All right, we are live. Let's get over here and share this. Did I copy it? Thought I did. All right, let's get right into it. Let's get right into today's topic. Here we go. What's up, everybody? My name is Brian. Good to see you again. Good morning to you on this beautiful Friday morning. It is Friday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. If you got plans today, let me know what they are in the comments. If you're doing anything special for your loved ones, of course. Very wonderful. Whatever. Anyways, I want to get right into it. Let me put my headphone volume a little down. It's too loud on my headphones. Turn me up on the headphones. No, Eminem. No. Not right now. All right. So, what I want to get to today is we're going to talk about filmmaking and like starting out in filmmaking. What actions do I need to do? How do I get started? Let's say we just graduated or we just finished film school, and where do we go from there? Actually, I couldn't tell you that because I didn't go to film school. So, let's say you quit film school. Where do you go from there? You still want to pursue filmmaking. And the third scenario, which is more like my scenario, I didn't go to film school at all. How do we get started in filmmaking? Because that's just something that you really enjoy doing and you feel like you want to do it professionally. So that's the question for today, right? First and foremost, my experience with filmmaking is that I have, let me take a look. I can probably even show you. I can show you my IMDb credentials. Let me see. I don't have to log in or anything. I don't pay for IMDb. I really don't feel like I have to. I don't pay for a lot of things. I figure things out on my own, and then I just make it happen. And so, if let me see if I can share the screen with you guys. Let's see. Let me go here, hit that F11, full screen. There we go. All right. Let's see. What about this one? That one is, wow, this is really old. I got to update all of this stuff. So I'm using, do I have the A2 Mini? I do, but where is it? Oh, it's right there. I'm right there in the bottom left. Okay, cool. So I've got this screen here I can share with you. So right here we go. My IMDb. You can search me at Brian S. Reyes. And I don't know if it'll be the first one, but this is the exact match because it's Brian S. Reyes, my middle initial. And then this is me right here. I am a cinematographer, it looks like. Wow. Very cool. Look at me. I'm a cinematographer. All right. So this is my IMDb credits known for. Those are just a few things previous as the cinematographer. So there's One Day the Movie, which is going. They're working on releasing it onto multiple streaming platforms like Tubi, Amazon, other ones, Apple TV, I think BET Plus. I don't know. And then there's Manjo, a short that was just for like social media or just YouTube, a YouTube short. Evil 3. And this is all the stuff that I was a cinematographer on, which is quite a few since 2021. Looks like was my first role as a cinematographer. And then Dark Haven, I was a cam op, first AC, Ya basta con las mentiras. I was a first ace or assistant camera, which uh, one of those again, first assistant camera, which I didn't really do much on one of those. I helped out wherever needed, but they gave me the first assistant camera credit, I guess. What else is on here? So there's Manjo as an editor. This is editor credits. Manjo, music video for Wilhelm Duke. Dudley Do Wrong was one of my shorts. I wrote that one. And then Red for Red. Oh, I did edit Red for Red. I was also the cinematographer on Red for Red. So yeah, this is just a few of my credits, and so, but I didn't go to film school. So how did I get here? It's not. I mean, I'm not bragging on what I've done because it's not really much. I don't think so. I got lucky. I got blessed because to be able for people to put me on their projects as a cinematographer, they're putting a lot of trust in me to get the look that they're going for. And so I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Oh, there's one upcoming I didn't see. Familiar Strangers. That one's, again, I was a cinematographer, director of photography. So that's going to also be released hopefully soon onto multiple streaming platforms, or we'll see where it's going to go. But yeah, I never really thought about being a filmmaker growing up. I never thought about it. I just really enjoyed watching movies. I loved going to the movie theater. It was like my favorite thing to do. And so, and I never really put it together with like working in film, or even just doing that. So basically what happened was, whatever my older brother did, that's kind of like what I did. I kind of would follow what he did. And it was like that since we were kids. And so like when he picked up the violin, I'm like, hey, let me try that. I started playing the violin, and then I played for like multiple years, and then he left it. He played the saxophone, and I'm like, hey, can I play the saxophone? And I would play I didn't learn. Like, I didn't get like official training in the saxophone, but I taught myself how to play saxophone. What else? He what do you call it? He went off to combat in Iraq in 2003, and when he came home for his leave, he had purchased a video camera, and I'm like, whoa, this is really cool, a video camera, and this is like one of those mini DV cameras, those Sony camcorders, and so then I got deployed like a year later. I got deployed out to Iraq, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna get a camera just like my brother. And oh shoot, let me take this off of here, right? So we can chitty chat. Yeah. So then I got a camcorder when I was out in Iraq, and I'll just film like day-to-day stuff. I have no idea where those videos are now. This was more than 20 years ago when this happened, and so long story short, I would just. It was kind of like daily. It wasn't like daily vlogs or anything like that. I never really published it anywhere. I just kept it for myself and my family. And then I discovered, or not discovered, but then YouTube came out, and then I was so addicted to YouTube. Like, it was so awesome. I thought it was freaking cool. What you like that you can put your videos online and share it with the world. And this is when YouTube was like really, really small. The most popular video was like a cat video or something like that. And so I learned about like. Oh, and growing up, I also loved music videos, and I always thought like, it would be cool to make music videos. And then when I would see like movies that had to do with like making music videos, like the movie Honey, I thought that was a pretty cool movie because you get a behind the scenes look at what it takes to like make music videos and the whole. Like production stuff and like the whole agents and yada yada yada, all that jazz. And then and so like I love music. Of course, who doesn't love music? And then with my camcorder, I just film myself rapping to like Bone Thugs music, and then I put their music over me rapping, and that was like my music video back in the day. This was like 2004. Okay. Um, and so that's all that I thought about it. I didn't really think about, oh, I'm gonna make movies. And up until like and then came around, YouTube got bigger and bigger, and then people would like my brother started his company, his wedding film company, or not the actual company, but he wanted to become like a wedding filmmaker and a photographer. So he bought a higher end video camera and a DSLR camera, and then he would let me mess around with the video camera, yada yada yada, and it was cool and all. And then it got me even more excited about my video camera, and so all I did up to that point, I was just filming like family videos. I was filming my daughter growing up. I still have all of those, or most of those, I think, because most of it was in my hard drive, and I think one of my hard drives failed, but luckily I was able to recover a lot of it. But anyways, so then YouTube, started seeing YouTubers like making their own like scenes with special effects, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And so then I would try to do the same thing. Like I saw a video on how to make yourself into like the flame guy from like what is that, the Fantastic Four, like flame on. And so I did that with special or VFX and whatnot, and that was cool. And again, these are just like little things I did with the camera. And then little by little, I started making like my own skits, my own shorts and stuff, which was cool. And I did that with like those little rinky-dinky video cameras, camcorders, those things with like pop out screen, and then it's like really small. You hold it like that. It's like a family thing. You can get them at Best Buy. They're really small, like for like $150 or something like that. So then I continued with that, and then like people started asking me to film their stuff, film like their birthdays, their weddings, and it's like, I don't know, I guess, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Like I filmed the quinceañera, or photographed the quinceañera, and I was like, it's okay, it's not really my thing. Not really why I got into like this hobby, but whatever. It's all good. Anyways, so then what's it called? Where am I here? So time went on, and then the vlog thing became popular. YouTube was growing more and more, and then I'm like, YouTubers like started making a ton of money online, and then it was like, whoa, what the hell? Like I know how to do this stuff. Like at this point I've been making videos for quite a bit, but never really for publishing online or anything like that. It was just like for myself. I would make like little shorts and then put it up for the family to see. I didn't really put it online. And then like vlogging became very popular. Skits became very popular. YouTubers started making money. I remember even hearing the term YouTuber. Like first time I heard it, I'm like, what the hell? YouTuber? What does that mean? It's like, what are you talking about? What's a YouTuber? A YouTuber is someone who makes YouTube content. I'm like, dude, I've been making YouTube content for like over 10 years. What are you talking about? I don't call myself a YouTuber. And so I just thought that was pretty funny. That was pretty interesting, because I was talking to someone, and they were telling me how their friend is a YouTuber. I'm like, and that's when all those like questions started coming up. And anyways, so then I'm like, whoa, this is cool. So then I would get like I would try to make my own skits and put it up on YouTube, and then I started getting more serious into like the cameras, and then I got sucked into like gear acquisition syndrome. Dude, I went through so many cameras, it's insane. So many cameras. I could probably name off all the cameras that I've owned. Do I want to? I don't know. I don't know if I should, because it's like I've been through so many, and this is why a lot of people, I think this is probably why a lot of people ask me, hey, what do you think about this camera? What do you think I should get? Yada, yada. I get those questions almost daily. I get like, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? What's the best thing? What's the best tool for what I'm trying to do? Or, hey, I found a deal on this camera. Do you think it's worth it? So that I get these questions again almost daily, um, and so yeah, from discovering that people are making money on YouTube, vlogs are getting really really popular, skits are getting popular, and it's like, man, I want to do my own stuff now. I want to build my own channel, and it's like, but it was still pretty tough because I didn't have a team. I didn't know how to get people together. I've been trying to get into the filmmaking realm, but it was hard. Even having friends in that space was still pretty difficult because it's like I didn't go to film school and they did, and then anytime I tried to come in, it's like I felt like not wanted, or I felt like not welcome, I guess. So yeah, I went to those like networking events for like, and it was mostly filled with like film students, and they really know how to make you feel unwelcome. And so, anyways, um, you know, I guess I left it at that, and I continued working in IT, but I did like the video stuff on the side, and it was fine. I struggled a little bit because I grew to not really enjoy working in IT, mostly because of the people that are in management, and like I have this way of doing things that makes sense, while other people don't do things that don't make sense, and so I would always clash because who knows where it came from? It could be from the military, it could be from the way I grew up. But anyways, I just whatever. Long story short, I guess a tragedy happened in my family, and I didn't want to continue, just living life on cruise control. I wanted to take control. I wanted to do what I love, and I wanted to love what I do, at the same time. And so I just grabbed the bull by the horns. I started from the bottom, and I went and applied at a camera store called ProCam. And this is where my filmmaking journey, official filmmaking career, kind of like began. Because I didn't know much about lighting. I didn't know much about cameras other than, the reviews and the cameras that I've owned. But, at ProCam, I was able to get my hands on a ton of gear. I was able to take training. I was able to study the equipment firsthand. I was able to rent the equipment, take it home, mess around with it, learn how it works, learn lighting, learn the different camera systems with Canon, Sony, Nikon, Panasonic, Fuji, and then lenses and strobes, LEDs, constant lights, stuff like that. And so then up until I learned so much that I started doing training at ProCam. And so I remember one of my I guess I can call him a student, because I taught them documentary filmmaking in about 8 meeting sessions. So 8 1-hour sessions. I was able to teach him the basics of documentary filmmaking. He rented a camera, I believe. He rented a camera and needed to learn how to use the camera because he was traveling to go make this documentary overseas. I guess the producer hired him to shoot it, but he wasn't familiar with the equipment. I think they were related or something like that, but they were working on this project together. And so I remember this guy. He's a really, really nice guy. And so we sat down for an hour each time. And then first I explained how to use the camera. This is that, this is that. I told him, make sure you take notes. All right. Make sure you take a lot of notes. And if you have any, go over your notes after our session. And if you have any questions, bring them back on the next session. So that way I can make sure you fully understand what you wrote down and such. And so, yeah, I taught him how to use the camera. Then after that, I taught him about composition, because he was going to do some interviews. I taught him about, interview compositions, framing with your talent or your subject, And then interview lighting. I tell them a little bit about lighting, how to make it look cinematic and stuff like that, because people go crazy for this cinematic look, right? And then I guess all in all, like from there at ProCam, I decided to spread my wings and just take off and do my own thing, run my own video production business, and which was going great. It was going really well up until what happened in 2020. Holy moly. It was just like a week later, I left ProCam. A week later, 2020 hit, and all of my clients that I had on the schedule in the books they were just like, yeah, we have to cancel. We have to reschedule or something. We have to figure this whole thing out. So then I was left without a job. I went back into IT, and that was that. So then getting back into IT, it was fine. It was okay again. Still not what I really, really enjoy doing. Although I love tech and all, and I love helping people. But like the management in IT, I don't know what it is about them, but they're not people. They just don't get people. For them, it's just a numbers thing. Like, if the numbers are where they're supposed to be, then we're okay. Which, but even then, it's still like, they're not people. Anyways, I digress. It's not while longer, I got my first official job working on set on a real movie as a first AC. And I kid you not, like my very first day on set, I was like, wow. Like I had to sit down because I almost broke down in tears. And because it's like, dude, it was never really my dream. But the fact that I was working on a real movie set was just mind blowing. It was just like, it was just insane, because something that I didn't think would ever happen is happening. And I was so grateful. And the way it happened, the way I got this opportunity was not by going to film school, was not by, whatever the skills that I had, was like, because I have skills, but like the way I got this job was not from those skills, not from my experience, because before this I didn't have any filmmaking experience. It was just from being at the right place at the right time and knowing the right person. And that is what I found. That's what I found. What's more like important, not necessarily important, but like how the better chance of getting more jobs or gigs that you want is by being in the right place in the right time and by knowing the right person. And again, like, this is not to shame on like filmmaking students or those people that go to filmmaking school. Of course, you're gonna network there. You're gonna make friends with some people that could become important in the future. But that, my experience with filmmaking graduates or film school people has never really been positive. It's always been like, I went to film school and you didn't. So anyways, and so I got that first gig. It was great. It was awesome. I had to kind of like, I was alternating from my IT job to this gig, and it was kind of a shuffle. I was sad that I couldn't be there every day on set, but luckily, the producer allowed me, the certain days, because I had a regular job and I just couldn't, and it paid decently. It wasn't like a lot, but it was not bad for my first job in film. Like I wasn't a volunteer. I was getting paid. And so yeah, that was cool. So that really, once I did that job, that kind of got my foot in the door as like, okay, my experience is starting to build. And the thing about me is, whenever I do something, whenever I get into something, like, I want to be the best at it, you know? Even before that gig, before the first day on set, I went on YouTube and I watched every single first AC video that I could find, every single one. And it didn't matter if it was low quality or high quality. It didn't matter if it was good information or bad information. I wanted all of it. Like, give me all the information. I'll decide what's good and I'll decide what's bad. And then my first day on set, like, they noticed, man, I hit the ground running. I was like, man, this guy is legit, you know. And they felt confident in having me there. And so not much longer, like, after the first day on set, they're like, hey, it seems like you know your stuff. Can we have you cam op as well? Heck yeah, you can have me cam op, you know, as long as I get that cam op credit. And so, yeah, and they're like, yeah, no problem, cool, boom, I got the cam op credit, I got the first AC credit. And now, you know, there's a whole bunch of pictures on my Instagram and on my website where you can see the behind the scenes of that. And that's a lot of what, I guess, kind of drives the whole, like, your experience and whatnot. Like, that's the proof that you have experience of being on set, right? And there's kind of like there's like a negative and a positive from taking behind the scenes photos, especially like if you're doing it yourself. It's great when they have a photographer, right? But then it's like they might not always get you doing the action that you want to share that you're doing. You get what I'm saying? And so yeah, I did that one. That one got my foot in the door. I started building my experience and my skills, and I got that cam op credit. I got that first AC credit. And then after that, it was just like, okay, what's next? What's the next project? Hey, are you know, I friended like a lot of people that were on set, you know, like the sound person, the DP, the director. You know, we're all friends now on Facebook. And then so we're always trying to talk to each other and keep tabs. And it's like, hey, what project's coming up? What do you got? Yada, 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 yada. You got anything that I can help you with? And such, and or even just the fact that you have them in your network and you're posting, you know, constantly about like what you're doing or what you're trying to do. It's always good to have eyes on that, because, you know, they could always just call you later on. It's like, hey, I see you're still, you know, doing your thing. You know, why don't you come on this project with us? And so yeah, from there it was just like. And then all I really wanted to do was DP. All I really wanted to do was camera work. I didn't accept any other job other than camera work, because that's what I feel like I'm best at. You know, I love cameras. I know how they work. I know how to use more than one type of camera, and so that's what I can bring to the table. So, what does that mean for someone like you? Did you go to film school? Did you quit film school? Do you want to work in it professionally? Like, the biggest question is like, and I see this a lot, because people ask me all the time, what camera should I get? What camera should I get? You know, they're using, I want a red camera. Or I see people post in the filmmaking groups, we're looking for a cinematographer, but they have to know how to use a red camera, or they have to have a red package, or they have to, you know, have a Sony package, you know, or they have to be familiar with Sony. And it's like, yo, Luca, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Shoot, my man. I'm like, let me look at these comments real quick. Jersey Jaguar is saying, excellent backstory. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Mel says, hi. Hello, Mel. Okay, so basically, here's the thing. I used to own, and this is the problem. I used to own different types of cameras because of that reason. And I've been through so many. Like, oh, if I just have this camera, I can get these types of gigs. I really thought that. Because it's like, oh, if okay, like so if I do a broadcast gig, I can bring my broadcast camera. If I do a filmmaking gig, I can bring my cinema camera. Oh, if I do like a wedding or a birthday party or something like that, I can bring my like mirrorless camera. And so this is the problem. Like, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, you need to specialize. But again, it's like, just even if you specialize, it's like you'd have to like specialize so specific and be the best at it that you're the only person qualified for those gigs. But then also, you're still going to compete with other people that are trying to get that as well, even though they're not as like, specialized as you are. If that makes any sense, it's still a competition. And so I sold almost all of my cameras except for one of my Blackmagic cameras, one of my pocket cinema cameras, which is a great camera. I probably won't ever sell it because I'm pretty sure this camera is going to last me a very long time. And I didn't pay much for it. And so there's no reason to sell it. I have no reason to sell it. And then I have another 80D, a Canon 80D as my, like, just a generic content creating camera, something that it's a little higher quality than my phone, but it's right there in the middle between my phone and my Blackmagic camera. And basically, in events where I don't want to carry any camera and I can just use my phone, I have, audio microphones that I can connect to my phone, no problem. So I've given you a backstory. I've given you my story. And basically, the thing is, like, you don't really, to get started in filmmaking, I guess you have to answer this question. In what area of filmmaking do you want to work in? Do you want to work in filmmaking because you have stories to tell? Do you want to work in filmmaking because you want to produce beautiful images? Do you want to work in filmmaking because you want to produce high quality sound? Does that make sense? Or do you want to work in filmmaking because you feel like you know everyone and you can put together an A team? And so that's what we kind of forget or don't look at. It's like, what part of filmmaking do you want to work in? What's your goal? What's your end goal? Because a lot of people, what happens is like, oh, you know what? I need to get my foot in the door, so I'm going to go take a PA job. Which, that's been working for a very long time. But how long is it going to take until you reach your goal? That's the biggest question. Because I was asked when I was DPing a feature film, someone asked me, he's like, oh, what department did you start in? I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. What department? I'm like, oh, I mean, I've always been in the camera department. Like cameras are my thing. That's I've always been a DP. I had one first AC job, and then a few like minor credits as a first AC, but not actual. I just helped out. But I've always been a DP. I've always been a cinematographer. I've never really done anything else. I mean, I've helped out on other people's set because I wanted to help out. I PA'd other sets, and I help out my friends who help me. Even if they don't help me, if I feel like I could help you, and if you want to help me in the future as well, cool. If not, no problem. And so that's the thing. It's like, and I heard, like, when I was on set in that feature film, I overheard other departments speaking to each other, saying, "Oh man, like, they got stuck in what's it called? Set design. They got stuck in the department." It's like, how do you get stuck in a department? They took that job, and because they wanted to work in film, but then they ended up staying that, like, they became well known for that, and then those are the only gigs that they're getting. And so, does it make sense? Do you ever reach your goal of whatever it is that you wanted to do in the first place? Whether it's telling your story, you have stories to tell, Whether you want to be a writer, a director, a cinematographer, a gaffer, sure. I feel like most cinematographers start out as gaffers or like first ACs and stuff, and then with the hopes of becoming like a legit cinematographer, director of photography, which makes sense. I understand, because you want to work underneath great cinematographers, great directors of photography. You want to work under them, right? Because you want to learn. You want to learn what to do, what not to do. You want to learn whatever techniques that they might be doing, which, it makes total sense. It's fine. It's great. But I feel like, yeah, sure. I've worked with like one cinematographer that I worked with on that first AC gig that I got. Like, he was awesome. I learned so much from him. I absorbed as much as I could from him. And I still think about that gig. I still think about the way his techniques to today. I thought it was like a lot of my gear purchases were based off of what he was doing, how he was using lighting, and such. And so, so that's one thing that you need to consider, right? Because I remember an experience where I met with a writer, and he's like, I want to make this movie, but I don't know anyone. I'm from LA. I don't know anyone here in Chicago. And I don't know anything about cameras. I just want to make this movie. I'm like, cool, let's get together. Let's figure it out. I was like, oh, okay. And then they asked me, do you have a red camera? I'm like, nah, I don't. Oh. But they just told me they don't know anything about cameras. But why are they asking you about red? Why? Because red in their marketing, red is very, very, very popular. Of course, red makes some great cameras. I'm not going to lie. Red cameras are great. The codecs are freaking amazing. Looks like true raw red codec, R3D codecs. It's just like, it's great. But they also dominated like in marketing as well. And so that's why people are asking for red. And so even though if they don't know anything about cameras, it's like, oh, I know red. Red is good. Red is popular. Just like Ari. Ari's great. Ari's popular. Like Ari's like the king of kings of cameras. And so it's like, oh, if I had a red package, I'd be hired more. Okay, so let's go spend 30, 40, 50 grand on a red package with cinema lenses. Okay, maybe more than 50 grand. So we spend 30 grand on a camera. We spend another like 20, 30 grand on a lens package. And then we're going to need sticks. And so what's a good tripod is probably going to run you like 10K, 5 to 10K. So how much money are going to be in to build this package? Because you think that if you had this package, you'd be more hireable. You have a higher chance of getting hired. Why do you think there's rental houses? Like, why do they exist? Because we can give a production a high quality package, on a low day rate. Day rates, a production's going to be like 1, 2, 3 weeks, let's say 3 weeks long for an Ari package at, or how much per week, everything. Let's say they give you everything and they want to give you a deal because you're getting everything through them, and it could be a slow month for them. So they give you even a bigger deal. And so for less than $10,000, you can have a whole package, camera package. Boom. High-end, $100,000 Ari camera. I mean, does it make sense? So that's why I sold all of my cameras. Nobody was hiring me for my cameras. I had high-end cameras. They weren't the latest and greatest, which is probably why I wasn't getting hired. But they produced some high-quality footage, I can tell you that. So I got hired to shoot an event, and I brought my Pocket 6K. And they weren't familiar with Blackmagic, this company. They weren't familiar. They're used to Panasonic's. I think Panasonic's and like the GH5. They recently upgraded to like the S1 line, S1H, S1.5 or S1, I don't know, whatever. They're familiar with those cameras, but they weren't too familiar with the Blackmagic cameras. And so I brought my Blackmagic. It was a pain in the ass because no autofocus, which is fine. I had my follow focus on there, and yeah, I made it work. And they were just amazed at the footage. I filmed YouTube content for a shop, for a well-known shop in East Dundee, and I used two different cameras. I used the Blackmagic camera and a Sony FX6. Tell me, which one do you think they liked better? The footage. Man, they were drooling over the Blackmagic camera footage, the Pocket 6K. It was the 6K Pro? I don't remember. I think it was the 6K Pro. Yeah, they were drooling over that footage. Like, wow, man, this looks amazing. It looks like an actual movie. Like I look like a famous actor. Yeah, so I realized people were hiring me because of my skill with lighting, my skill with lens selections and composition and camera movement and the way the frame, the picture tells a story. You know? That's why I was getting hired. I was never getting hired for my camera package. Maybe in the beginning, you know, maybe in the beginning I was. But once people saw that I could grab anything and make something beautiful from it, it was like, we just need you. I would get calls about, hey man, I was wondering if you could DP a movie for me. I'm like, yeah, sure. When is it? It's like, oh, it's coming up in next summer. I'm like, all right, well, you know, let me know the exact dates. Let's get you locked in. And then he's telling me, yeah, it's 2 days only. I'm like, oh, okay. What is it? A short? I'm like, no, it's a feature film. I'm like, a feature film? 2 days? Man, that's pretty brave to shoot a feature film in 2 days. He's like, nah, it's actually, we're actually shooting like over 5 days, but I really need you for those two because I need it to look really, really good for those 2 days. I'm like, bro, that just sounds sketch. I was like, nah, you know what? I don't remember how I ended that conversation because I was just like blown away by the process of this person's reasoning or whatever. It was just crazy. And I get that a lot. I get hit up in DMs. It's like, hey man, you're the only one I know that can pull off the look that I want. But then it's like, okay, that's fine, great, but like, what are your prices? I'm like, bro, I've said this so many times. I don't have a menu. We need to figure out what it's going to take to get what you want. You know, if you want to hire me as a cam op, that's fine. Sure. You can go to my website and get my day rate, package rate and stuff like that. That's no problem. But if you want me to take charge of the whole production, then yeah, we have to figure out what you want and the budget that you have and how can we get there with that budget. I mean, I'm not asking you for your budget to take all your money. I'm asking you for your budget to figure out how we can best use that budget. I think I'm getting sidetracked over here. So you don't, my first thing is like, you don't need to buy an expensive camera. You don't have to do it. You don't have to buy an expensive camera. Let me mute the computer audio because I got updates running in the background apparently. If you want to start it, I mean, I would just say get started. Like, okay, so if you have a story to tell, write your story. And there's another thing too, like people calling me asking me, hey man, I got this great story. I was wondering if you could help me shoot it, help me film it. I'm like, okay, do you have the script? Nah. Oh, okay, write the script. First, write the script. Write it a couple more times after you write it the first time. And make sure that you got a solid script. Or someone's like, hey man, they call me like, hey man, I got this script, and I was wondering if you could DP, if you can help me shoot it. I'm like, okay, is the script finalized? You have the final version of the script? Oh no, actually I just gotta finish it or rewrite some things. Like, okay, rewrite it, finish it, make sure it's completely done, and then we'll look at it together. But yeah, so do you want to be a script writer? Do you want to write movies? Do you want to direct? Do you want to write and direct? Because I've seen directors ask in the groups, Facebook groups, hey, I got this story, I got this movie I want to make. I was just wondering, what camera should I buy? I'm like, bro, you don't need to buy a camera. There's so many people out there that have already done that. There's so many cinematographers and filmmakers that have already purchased their camera, and they're dying to use it. They just don't have a script. They don't have a story to tell. They can help you tell your story. And so maybe network, right? Find them. They're out there. There's a ton of them out there. They're dying to film. They're dying to use their camera. I was dying to use my camera. I'd be like, let's just go make something. My friends know. They've heard me. They've seen my posts. Hey man, I just want to go make something. I need a subject. I don't get in front of the camera. Of course, right now I'm in front of the camera. This is just like years of fighting from being in front of the camera. I'm not acting in front of the camera. I'm not a model. I'm not beautiful or anything like that. I'm not a gorgeous woman. And so yeah, network. Speaking of networking, I have a networking event coming up. It's in, we've had to reschedule it a couple times. The first time was because I got sick. Second time was because of the snowstorm. And I'm hoping, by March 30th, we should be fine. March 30th in Arlington Heights. If you want more information, feel free to DM me or send me a message. Leave it in the comments. I can put the link in the comments to when that, for the networking event. The event is on Facebook. So if you want to come, we're inviting all filmmakers, creatives, anybody working in the space of like videography, photography, cinematography. If you have a business, a video business, please come. If you normally shoot like weddings and whatnot or commercials, whatever it is, if you create for yourself or for other people, please come. If you're an actor, if you're a director, if you're a writer, if you're some type of creative and you want to meet other creatives, please come to this networking event. It is March 30th in Arlington Heights. And the time is still to be determined, but we'll get there pretty soon. Okay, so yeah, find somebody, network, right? You might be a badass with your camera, but you just don't know what to shoot. Lord have mercy. Do you need filmmaking school? What do you think? Where did I go for filmmaking school? I went to YouTube University. I studied YouTubers. I watched a lot of them too. But I also took their information with a grain of salt. I knew and I understood that they didn't have the definite answer. And just like when I learned how to be a first AC, I'll take in all the information. The good, the bad, the good, the bad. And I decided for myself which I would keep, which I would throw away. Because once you're on set, that's when you really learn. When you're on set, that's when you really learn what was good information and what was bad information on YouTube. Right? What does film school not teach? I couldn't tell you because I didn't go to film school. But from what I heard others say, in my experience, what they don't teach is how to make money in film. Aside from working in film, but like how to, like, I think it was like, this is from what I've heard, okay? Don't attack me. Distribution. How do you even go about doing distribution deals? Finding funding, like funding your film. If you're not made of money, if you're not a trust fund baby, how do you pay for your film? You know, I've heard. I don't know. It could be true, could not be true. Let me know in the comments if you know. My favorite part, the gear trap. I tell people I've been there, done that. I have gas. Gear acquisition syndrome. I have it, and I'm treating it. Trust me, I still have it. I might have sold a lot of equipment. I sold all of my cameras, but I still have gas. I still have gear acquisition syndrome because I'm like, no, I don't need it. I have resources. We have ShareGrid. We have Film Diner. Film Diner is the best place where I've gotten gear from. I've rented gear. Because it's like not only does Film Diner have what I need, but if I need something, I just say it. I'm like, hey man, can we get an extra one of those Hollywlands? Yeah, no problem. Boom, got it. Like next day, boom. It's just amazing. I love Film Diner. Film Diner is the best place if you're a new filmmaker. Film Diner is where you want to be if you're a new filmmaker. If you want to be a filmmaker, if you want to be a paid filmmaker, successful filmmaker, if you want the experience, if you want the connections, if you want to be at the right place at the right time, Film Diner is a place to do that. So I don't get anything for saying that. I don't. I never have. It's just I believe in it so much. Because Film Diner is how I was able to grow my career further into filmmaking, you know? And I would just give it a shot. You've heard about Film Diner. I'm sure you have somewhere in a group chat, in a Facebook group. Like, just take that leap, man. Let's get together. Maybe we can work together and work on stuff. But the gear, you don't have to own it. You can just rent it, borrow it, like just rent. Oh, but I need to learn. I need to know how to use the camera. Okay, rent it to learn how to use it. That's what I did on that feature film. We were using FX6s, FX3s, and we were going to use an FX3 and FX6 on that feature film. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm somewhat familiar, but I feel like I need to get more familiar. So what did I do? I rented the FX6 for like a week. And studied it, learned it inside out. I filmed stuff with it. I learned it. And then came time for, the feature film production day. It's like I already knew the camera inside and out. So what's the problem? How much time do you need with the camera to figure it out? Which goes into like, hey, if you want to learn how to use your camera, feel free to call me. I do lessons. I do. I've done it at ProCam so many times. I've done it here in my studio, one-on-ones. We can do it. I can teach you how to use your camera. I can teach you the basics of exposure, the basics of, composition, framing, the basics of like audio and lighting. I can teach you all of that. No problem. We can do a 1 hour, 2 hour session here in my studio. Or we can do it remote. We can do like a Zoom call. Let me know. I want to help you. I don't want you to go through what I've been through. What matters more than the camera? And this goes with like, yesterday I was talking about the podcasting and everything. Right? Gear. Everyone's so excited, so crazy about gear. They forget the thing about why we're using the gear in the first place. Storytelling. You got to have a good story. You got to have a great story, an amazing story, story that people want to experience. I would say watch, but it's like, nah, people want to experience it. People want to be engulfed, be a part of that world for however long it is, whether it's a short film or a feature film or a series. They want to be a part of that world. You guys understand that feeling that you get. Hey, you just got a new subscriber, Black Empire. Thank you. Storytelling. is the most important thing. Story, and I don't know, like I was big into following vloggers back in the day. Casey Neistat, one of my favorite vloggers. Of course, one of like everybody's favorite vlogger, right? He's like revolutionized vlogging. But he would always say, story is king. Like story. Screw everything else. You can film everything on your phone. You can film everything on a 20-year-old camera, an 8mm camera. Like the story is where it's at. The story. Nobody cares about your 8K, your 12K, 17K camera. Great. Good for you. Amazing. You can afford that. Or you can't. You put it on a credit card. Story is where it's at. The story. And how you tell the story. That's I can't stress it enough. Okay, cool. We understand that story. Still gotta have a camera. Yeah, okay. Sure. Go get an RE, the RE Alexa 35. Hell, get the. I think they have a what's it called? What's their full frame? RE Alexa LF. Alexa Mini LF. $88,000 camera. Okay, sure. What good is that camera if you don't know how to light? What good is that camera if you cannot light? If you don't know how to use lights, if you don't hire someone to light, what good is a cinematographer if he doesn't have a gaffer? If he doesn't have lighting equipment? Let's say you hire the best cinematographer in the world and he doesn't have lights, he or she, excuse me. If he or she they don't have lights, they don't have a gaffer, they don't have any kind of diffusion, scrims, or anything like that. Nothing. What good is the best cinematographer? I don't know if you know this, but cameras need lights. I mean, we need lights so that we can see, and so do cameras. So do cameras. A lot of people get at me because it's like, oh no, I have a Sony. I don't need lights. I have Sony. I'm just gonna boost the ISO. It's like, okay, good luck with that. The street lights, oh my God, they're getting worse. The street lights are terrible these days. LEDs, these ugly LED lights in the streets. The lights in your house that are up in the ceiling, shooting straight down, flickering, giving you raccoon eyes. Yeah, let me know how it goes. You're shooting without lights. Oh, I got a Sony Venice, or I got a Sony FX6. I don't need lights. I got a Sony FX3. The creator was shot on a Sony FX3. That means I need to go buy an FX3. Or what, they released a new chart that showed the film what's it, Sundance Film Festival cameras. Was it Sundance or was it Cannes? Here we go. Yeah, so when they released these charts, what the submissions for Sundance were filmed on this camera, and most were filmed using the RE Alexa 35. 17. Here, let me show you this. Here we go. This is marketing right here at its finest. This is marketing. What does this make you want to do? Look at this chart. What does this make you want to do? Black Magic is not even on here at all. I don't know if they were on last year. But Ari still remains the king. Is it Ari or Ari? I always forget. Red Komodo. Oh, there's one red camera. And then there's the Sony Venice. Sony FX9, FX6, FX3. Wow. I mean, they're two films. Three. But Ari Alexa 35. I mean, Don't get me wrong. It's got great specs, but you need a crew to run that camera. All of this is just marketing. All of that is just marketing. You don't need... Okay, you can get it. Don't buy it. Of course, rent it. You can rent an FX3. You can rent it, no problem. Let me see how much an FX3 goes for. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Hope I didn't mess up the stream. Let's see how much an FX3 goes for renting at Film Diner. So the way Film Diner works is you're on tiers. So depending on how much you pay in the year, puts you in a specific tier, and then that tier would put you at a specific rental rate. I'll log in. So let's see. Here we go. FX3. Okay, I can see that. Wow. Let's go lens rentals. I'm just comparing. Take it easy. Let me see if the FX3 is on here. Relax. Oh, that's just I'm like, damn, that's cheap. Just I was like, oh, that's just a cage for the FX3. I'm like, holy cow, why is it so cheap? Okay, I can see that. Lens rentals. They have an FX3 for $200. Let's see, 200. Hold on, I'm doing some mathing. Math. 200. Whoops. Okay, it's not bad. I think that's if you get it. Let's see. I'm going to add it to, let's see. I'm just going to make a fake one. We'll just do like a regular 3-day rental. Okay, so, that's a 2-day? I thought that would be a 3-day. Let's just go for a 1-day rental. $118. FX3. Film Diner. It's not bad. Believe me. If you're a Diamond member, it's $36. And it comes with a cage and a case. Well, the case, of course. It comes with a cage, top handle. This one is just a body only, no cage. You still have to cage it up if you're going to rig it. It's really up to you. Depending on if you're diamond, gold, silver. Even if you're silver, it's still cheaper than lens rental. Because you don't. Let me see if there's. I saw one with the cage. Similar package. No, that's just. No. I mean, there's a cage for it, which is so if you get the cage. So that's like 120, another 20. So 140 from lens rental. Still, I mean, it's still a ton cheaper. What am I trying to say? You don't need to own the gear. You can rent it, please. You can rent the gear. Sure, you can have a camera. I mean, you can use your phone. There's apps now. There's like here. Let me show you. I've got this app. The Blackmagic camera app. Oops, I'm recording. The Blackmagic camera app. Let me see if I could focus on this really quickly. Camera and focus. I'm going to put it right in the middle. So the Blackmagic camera app, you can see, I don't know if you're familiar with Blackmagic, but this is pretty much, it looks like the back of the screen of a Blackmagic camera. And so you got all the tools, all the exposure tools here. It's full, I'm recording again. It's full manual. You can use that. This will work. There's a whole group. There's a whole thing on iPhone cinematography or whatever. There's this whole thing about it. You can read up on it. Join the Facebook group, or if you have a story to tell, or you're a writer, director, you can use your phone to start like storyboarding and see what the shots are going to look like. I do the same thing with the nap. So that I don't have to carry the camera around, I set up this app so that way I have an idea of what the frame is going to look like. So let's say here, it's this one right here. It's Magic Cinema. So what this does, let me focus on this one. Is it focusing? So what this does is, like, over here, you've got the focal length. We can set this. Let me move this over. Set that to video. Okay, so for over here, you've got the focal length here. You can set the different focal lengths. Up here, you can set the camera. So what camera are you using? And that's going to adjust to the sensor of the camera, this frame here. So then you got focal length. And then over here, you can see the depth of field. You can actually calculate. You can calculate the depth of field here. And that way you have an idea. That way you have an idea of what your framing is going to be like, how much space you have for depth of field, like if you're at a specific focal distance. And it's a great tool to have. See, right now I have it set up for my Pocket 6K. So that's the sensor for the Pocket 6K. And then if I change over here, this is different focal lengths. So if I go wider, there we go. You see, if I go that wide, that's the actual frame. So you see it gets in that gray part. So because we're going really wide, but now my camera sensor cannot cover that wide, if that makes any sense. If you want me to go over it with you one-on-one, let me know. Or just do it on your own, whatever. Google it, YouTube it. There's a lot of information out there. But what else? Yeah. So, yeah, this is your best first camera. Budget friendly. If you want to stay budget friendly, you want to kind of like practice. You don't have skills and nobody wants to trust you with their gear. I mean, rental houses will trust you. Just give them an ID. But you don't have the money for it. Okay, fine. What can you do? If you look over here, right there, what is that? What do you see right here? Look at that. That's a work light. It's like one of the ones from Home Depot. You clamp it, and you just put a bulb in there. You can put a bulb. You can put a tungsten bulb in there. You can put a fluorescent, whatever, bulb in there. You can put an LED bulb in there. Get some wax paper from the dollar store, some baking sheets or whatever, for some diffusion. If you didn't know what I was getting at. Okay, and then start playing with lighting. Get a couple of those. Play with lighting. Those things are really cheap. Okay, fine. Or just get with somebody else. You know, get with a friend and work on stuff together, make stuff together. But budget friendly, you can go that option. You can go to Home Depot. You can get some work lights. There's a lot of stuff on Marketplace that people are just getting rid of. The old lights, old school lights. I picked those up. Last summer, I picked them up, like a whole batch of like these low lights. They're hot. They take bulbs, halogen bulbs. They're really hot. I had one mounted up here in the back in my light rail in the back. I had one mounted over there. It was kind of like what this light is doing right now. But then it burnt out. I left it on all day. I forgot to turn it off. I left it on all day and it burnt out. I have more bulbs. I just haven't had time. But it gets really hot. You have to use gloves when you're using those lights. So what should you focus on instead? Practicing. Practice cinematography. Practice framing, composition, practice lighting. One thing we haven't talked about yet is sound. How do you get the best sound? Well, check this out. I could be talking to you from the microphone on the Blackmagic camera, or on the camera right there, on the built-in mic. But I'm talking to you from the mic, through the mic that is right here in front of me. What is that? What does that tell you, or what am I trying to say? Is the closer you get the microphone to your subject, the better sound quality you're going to get. And so that's another thing you got to practice. microphone placement. I hate miking people up, especially when you have to hide it. If it's okay to show a lapel, then that's fine. I'll do that. But if I have to hide it, holy cow, this is like my worst nightmare. I'd rather have a professional sound person do it. I can never seem to get it right. So you can learn by doing. Just go do it. Start with your phone. Don't worry about lighting. Focus more on storytelling. Don't worry about lighting. Don't worry about, the camera you're using. Focus more on the story. Film it. And then watch it. And then do it again. Note some fixes and changes or whatever that you need to make. And then do it again. But how do you get on a real film set, even if you don't have any connections? Well, like I said, you can come to our networking event, March 30th, where there will be people who work on real film sets every day. That's the best way. Go connect. If you know someone that works in film, all it takes is one person. Go wash their car. Go buy them coffee. Go spend time with them. That's all it takes. The best free, low, and cost ways to learn filmmaking? YouTube. I mean, come on. That's a no-brainer. YouTube. You can YouTube anything nowadays. There's not much else going on. I think it's pretty much it. Like, one of these days, I'm hoping to get like a Q&A going where people can either ask questions in the comments or people can call in with questions. I think that would be really cool. I wish this would tell me like how long I've been online live, because I don't really know. This is lame. Oh, okay, I see that. Oh, okay. Just looking at stuff. I'll have to figure this out later. But yeah, so I was maybe next time, if you guys want to do like a call in or just want to put it in the chat, if you guys have any if you have guys words. If you guys have any questions, hopefully next time we can get them answered live. I would like to do that. Oh man, I could have made a poll. Polls and questions for chat engagement. What's your biggest challenge starting filmmaking? Did you go to film school? Why now? What's the first camera you owned? Oh, my first camera. I think I already told you. No, I didn't tell you which one it was. It was like a Sony camcorder. It was a Sony. I still have it, but I let someone borrow it and they haven't returned it yet. So I'm hoping to get that back soon. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys. What are your filmmaking goals? Let me know in the comments. And then also please subscribe. Please like. Let's get this channel going to where I feel like it should go. I want it to go. I'm doing this to help other filmmakers so that they don't have to make the same mistakes that I have. And feel free to reach out to me directly if you want. I'm more than happy to work with you one-on-one on this on your journey. So without further ado, I'm out of here. Peace out. Thanks, guys. Bye.